Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with this article here. It is quoting John E. Deaton. Basically, he's talking about how we cannot underestimate how much damage the SEC lawsuit has caused. And he did post this tweet. We are going to dive into it here in a second. But we do see Judge Torres decided last month that the sale of XRP through algorithms and exchanges did not constitute an investment contract. The cryptocurrency sector hailed this as a major triumph because obviously it is. And most people have been looking at the appeal right now, thinking that XRP is going to come down to major price targets, which we could very well target. I did outline this over on Patreon, where I really kind of feel confident accumulating XRP yet again. But we do see in a recent tweet, Deaton highlighted that the SEC case harmed not only Ripple, but also XRP, and also even the holders of XRP, which I will go into here in a second. He said that the litigation has cost XRP 3 years of adoption. The 3 years taken in crypto are significant because those years saw notable advances, innovations, and a massive bull run. So let's dive into this. So basically, Johnny Deaton is quoting Coinbase's original cross-border payments marketing scheme that they had, which did include XRP. He's quoting an announcement from Coinbase where Coinbase and Circle actually announced a few updates to USDC. Stablecoins will be a key component of a new updated financial system, and we look forward to helping unlock additional utilities and growing the USDC ecosystem. Johnny Deaton did quote it and said, "You could never underestimate the damage the SEC's lawsuit has caused, not only against Ripple, but XRP. 3 years of adoption. That's what it's caused." Just how long is 3 years in crypto years? People seem to forget how much Coinbase promoted XRP before the lawsuit. See, I personally doubled down on my XRP holdings after Coinbase listed XRP and promoted XRP's utility. In fact, every time you opened the Coinbase app, you saw this. Here you guys have it, where they are talking about XRP, talking about international money transfers and things like that. Fast and free for all Coinbase users as well. And we do see at the bottom, bank transfer, XRP, USDC. So yeah, I mean, as we do look at this, I do believe that there has been significant damage caused. I still think that there is, damage that has been looming over XRP for a while. I still think that there's a lot of people out there that still think that XRP is a scam coin, this, that, whatever. And I welcome that. Listen, not everyone will win. There will be a large percentage of the general public that thinks, wow, XRP is going nowhere, whatever. And then all of a sudden they will be shocked. And I've talked about this many times in the past as well. But also damages against holders. There was $15 billion in damages to XRP holders. We know this. In fact, Ripple lawyers even outlined this. Here's a tweet from Stuart Alderati from 2021, basically talking a little bit about their filing their answer to the SEC's amended complaint. They also talked a little bit about the transparency to the SEC, how XRP was listed on 200 plus exchanges, billions of dollars in XRP were bought/sold monthly. Many market makers had daily XRP transactions, and third-party products not developed by Ripple used XRP. And if we do scroll down here, we see where they were talking about the $15 billion in damages. The blockchain firm argued that in bringing a case that alleges an unregistered securities offering of just over $1.3 billion from several years ago, the SEC has already caused more than approximately $15 billion in damages to those it purports to protect. Now, like I said, if we go back to this article, this is 2021. How much harm was done by the SEC? I mean, we have $15 billion. We know that that was a major problem for XRP holders, but how much money really was, harmed in this lawsuit? We have no idea. And also think about how much it set Ripple back with XRP initiatives. Think about how much it harmed Ripple's name. I mean, if you think about all of this outside of even just price action, it's wild to think about. And also with XRP, like, yeah, I do believe that XRP holders, listen, if you have been holding XRP for the last couple years, hell, even the last couple months, I want you guys to all understand that, you're completely different. You're built different than most of the people in this market because, most of them would never be holding XRP. In fact, most people don't hold XRP simply because of the fact that it hasn't created a new all-time high in well over 2,050 plus days. As we look at XRP today, it is sitting in a very great demand zone. It has been tapping our demand zone. I've talked a little bit about it as well. Like this whole area here, in my opinion, is a great area to look at as an accumulation zone. Now, listen. Could we go lower than this 40-cent zone? Yeah, 100%. Anything is possible. But I do believe that XRP is one of the most bullish assets in the space simply because it does have a full-on, cleared resume of it being a full-on currency. The recent announcement from the SEC has been great for that to really kind of put a staple in everything. But also, I think that we will start to see a lot more development happening around XRP and even Ripple. But for over 2,000 plus days, this thing has been under the major pressure point, aka the all-time high. We know back in 2020 when we got the announcement of the SEC lawsuit, 78% drop on XRP. Absolutely wild. This is why I say the damage caused by the SEC is ridiculous. And also, like I said, as we look forward on in time, I don't think that those damages will really matter. Why? Well, check this out. This is from Link2 over on Twitter. We do see in 2023, banks still take days for wire transfers while trillions lie dormant. Imagine unlocking that capital with Ripple's on-demand liquidity. Dive into the potential of our portfolio company here and listen closely.
There's a huge incentive for these financial institutions to get into gear and use ODL because they'll be able to take all those pre-funded accounts, take all that dormant capital, as Ripple has explained over the years, and they've used numbers between 10 trillion and $27 trillion in dormant capital that financial institutions can bring home. And that means a lot to these financial institutions. So for anyone that didn't know the Nostro piece of the puzzle to this thing, this is bigger than you may have even imagined. And these banks really want to bring that money back home. So I just want to make that point because when I speak to people every day, they have no idea that's one of the big benefits of using ODL.
Let me add this. When those banks bring home all that money, whatever trillion or billions that you're talking about, and they have that much more liquidity, what do they do with it? They give more loans. They give more loans to small businesses. They give more loans to individuals because they have the capital, and that improves, the economy outright. So it's almost tragic that it's 2023 pushing 2024 and we're still operating. I would encourage any of the new people to the community to do a wire transfer today. It still takes 5 days for me to do a wire transfer from one account to another sometimes. I did a domestic wire transfer to a client on a settlement that came in, and it was domestic, and it took 4 business days for it to end up in her account, right? So that's kind of obscene when you think about it.
Yeah. Imagine the irony for us, John, that our members wire us funds to invest in a company that can have settlement in 10 seconds or less.
And, this is one thing that I will mention. There's a lot of money in those Nostro accounts. They've predicted $27 trillion many times. It's anywhere in the $10 to $27 trillion range. But also wire transfers, money transfers, we are in 2023, almost 2024. Why have payments been, still lagging behind? The technology is here. And we already know that from Ripple's recent report that blockchain and crypto and payments are transforming the way money moves. Download our recent survey with faster payments of nearly 300 payments leaders across 45 countries for insight into the state of blockchain and crypto and payments today. When you see crypto cuts cost, 6% global average cost of sending a $200 payment. Massive. The majority, 51%, feel that lower cost is the primary benefit. And we already know that XRP has been transforming the way that money has been moved forever. And I cannot wait until the future where we do fully embrace this technology. We're getting closer every single day. And also, by the way, as we really kind of look at big banks and the banking world of things, Digital Asset Investor actually posted this, which is from Link2. And when you see on-demand liquidity XRP coming to the US, as long as Bank of America isn't purchasing it directly from Ripple, they can use it. Who will be first? Who will get left in the dust? And I do want to mention a few things around this, but run the clip.
The day after the judge ruled, somebody had tweeted on Twitter, according to summary judgment, our ODL, which is on-demand liquidity, which used to be called XRapid, are ODL-related sales now considered securities? David Schwartz from Ripple answered this. And here's what David said, and I want to share it with everyone that's here on this call, because I speak with members every day, and I like to share this, and then I'd like to have your response to how you feel about this, John. So David's response was, and I quote, "We're still figuring this out. We don't currently have ODL-related sales with a US nexus, and not being able to do so is not really a huge deal. We can still do ODL in the US so long as XRP is never sourced from Ripple." And before I ask you to respond, I just want to emphasize that the original use case for XRP in a payment stream of using RippleNet was called XRapid, which is now ODL, but it was originally designed where the user would buy and sell their XRP through exchanges and not source it from Ripple at all. What are your feelings? Do you think that financial institutions in the US can use XRP currently? And do you think anybody will do it until the case is completed?
Well, I think they're right. Listen, when the first decision came out, I did a live stream, and it was just with a couple hours after the decision. And I said, the only thing that I saw was, the judge grouped ODL into institutional sales. And, technically they're not investing because they're using it as a bridge currency and all those things, and they don't own it outright. They're not relying on the ripple of efforts because it's seconds later, they don't have it, blah, blah, blah. And so, no one can ever say a decision is going to be perfect. And so, but I agree with David Schwartz, and that's why I don't think Ripple's that concerned, because as long as Bank of America isn't purchasing it directly from Ripple, they can use it. They can certainly purchase it on Coinbase or Uphold or somewhere like that, and use it how they see fit that way, and then resell it. And so,
and I do want to really kind of look at this, right? Because we know Bank of America has been waiting on the sidelines for a while. The big thing to mention here is that these banks, as long as they're not purchasing it from Ripple, they can utilize this, meaning they have to buy it just like you and me, which creates significant demand for the token. That's a huge thing to mention, because imagine institutions going out to buy the only regulated digital asset in the space. Kind of crazy to think about. But also, I've mentioned many times in the past, Bob Way, who is a former Ripple employee. Anderson actually posted this, talking a little bit about Bank of America and JP Morgan. I did include this in a video back in July, but I do want to include it today because I think that this video is pretty significant to mention, because we do know that Bank of America has been wanting to utilize Ripple technology with XRP for a very long time. They've been working together closely. And we do see, on the other hand, if you look at RippleNet, you'll see Bank of America, Merrill Lynch on the steering committee. It's probably a pretty good presumption that JP Morgan and Bank of America are pretty competitive. I think of JP Morgan's latest news as more of a shot across the bow towards our other banks rather than Ripple. in particular, but I do think that it might cause all the RippleNet banks to pick up their pace a bit. Everyone in RippleNet wants to be seen as both a thought and execution leader. You can't be that if you're second. And yeah, I mean, I do think that as we really kind of look at the competitive way of banks, it's really kind of centered out on what's happening next around payment and payment technology. I think that as we really kind of look at the competitiveness of these big banks, we know that they want to have that advantage, especially over the big banks. And we even see here, like, you know, Bank of America is a huge partner of Ripple. And he said Bank of America stands to gain really big when the settlement happens because Bank of America is going to have a huge competitive advantage over their competitors by using on-demand liquidity. And the race is on, essentially, to utilize this technology. But also, think about it like this. They can't use it unless they're buying it on the open market. This is game-changing. And also, this is right on par with what Bob Way has said around ISO 20022 and the transition around the banking sector. Banks hate to change, an already work in process. Change can introduce new problems, which means bankers get fired. And with ISO 20022, well, guess what? It means that every single bank is required to implement new technology. We also see over here, this is the number one reason most bank integrations don't happen. New system development is expensive and risky. Mistakes can generate bank losses or fines. Bankers get fired. The person you are negotiating with must have product budget, development budget, risk appetite. With a mandatory 2022 change happening, the person you are negotiating with only needs to have product budget. Money for development has already been allocated elsewhere. Nobody gets fired for following a mandate. That makes the sale a much easier lift for Ripple. And also, guess what? Even if banks wait for a settlement, their 2022 upgraded system becomes much easier for Ripple to integrate with them. And also, it creates a much larger pool of on-demand liquidity compatible banks. And smaller banks get the most benefit from on-demand liquidity because it means that they are much more competitive now towards the bigger banks. It lets them cut the larger correspondent banks out of their flow and cost. This is big. It's game-changing. So I do think that we are in for a wave of institutional grade adoption very soon. Could happen all at once, could happen slowly, but I do think that almost every single major player does not want to be second here, especially if you are a big bank. You want to reap the rewards of this technology. I think that payment leaders around the world are getting ready. They realize the power of blockchain and crypto. They understand what Ripple has solved as well. It's only a matter of time. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, so notifications on. If you guys do want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that, this has been Nick. Peace out.